kind of like I was thinking like an RPG. Okay, you got a party with you, but the way this game is like I said, you got three heroes that you play as. You start off with three. I guess you can unlock more from what I hear. But you got three heroes, and you've got three lanes of combat. They coincide with the buttons on your controller. You know, so like the top one is X, middle is Y, lower is B. What you do is, if you want the top row guy to attack, you hit that button, like X, and then A is your attack button. So you would hit X and then A. Well, you can then swap your characters, because like right now I have kind of like a big beefy guy that's like the knight, and then I got like a wizard, and then I got a rogue. So depending on what lane I want a certain character to attack in, you can swap that character to the appropriate lane, hit the A button, he'll attack in that lane. What I didn't know was the Dark Soul level of difficulty that comes along with this game, because it's like this cartoony style. It doesn't look, it looks kind of lighthearted, but it will punish you hard, like without, with like no qualms whatsoever. And yeah, so like I said, didn't know much going into it. I just thought it looked cool, that the art style was kind of cool. Thought maybe this would be just like a pick up and go type of, play it casually. Not so much. So if you picked up a Switch recently, and it's also out for Xbox One and PS4, by the way, but we all know that the cool thing about the Switch is that it's portable, and it does lend itself to that style of play where, because it's like Dark Souls, you can be beat pretty quickly, but it's just one little session. You could do your little session. If you beat it, great. If you get pounded into the ground, every time you die, though, it's kind of like you do collect souls. So every time you die, you can then get items to help you next time. So that's kind of cool.
I see.
But yeah, I would definitely check it out before you buy. Like I said, I kind of bought it just because I'm like, hey, I want to check this game out. But if you're on the fence about it, definitely check out some YouTube videos. It has been Heroes. And see if you like it. See if it's your type of game. So, but I'm liking it so far. I've only played for 2 hours, and I think I just barely figured out how to play.
Okay.
So, but yeah, just got that today. So it's pretty much been Breath of the Wild and a little bit of Has Been Heroes today.
Okay. Cool, man. Awesome. Mr. Woodhouse, how about you, buddy?
I'm still living in Hyrule, man. I'm 30 hours in. I've been, taking it slow.
Okay.
Been splitting time between Hyrule and the Andromeda Galaxy.
Okay. Nice.
So, but I'm really enjoying Zelda. It's really unlike any game I've ever played. Everyone coming in, they were calling it Zelda Scrolls, and it's going to be that perfect mixture of the two. It plays like neither one.
Yeah.
So it took some getting used to, but now I'm seeing why people are calling it quite possibly the greatest game ever created.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's crazy. Like, I completed the main quest on Saturday, and had that feeling of like, what? Like I was sick all weekend, and so I got up Saturday morning. No one else in my house was awake. I just put on some TV and started playing Zelda, and I wasn't like necessarily planning on completing the main quest, but I ended up doing it, and was like, I think I'm gonna take a break from this game. I got to Monday, where it was my regular streaming time, right back into Zelda, Zelda, and then it's just a matter of like looking for shrines at this point, and I'm trying to figure out these shrine quests, and I'm totally stuck on this one right now. I thought I was figuring out the riddle, and I didn't. Thankfully, just in my exploring, I found another shrine, because I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've wasted 2 hours trying to figure out this riddle," and so it's just rad. It's rad. But before I get started any further, were there any other Nintendo games, or has it just basically been Hyrule and Mass Effect?
It's been all Hyrule for me right now.
Okay, cool.
I'm all about that yahaha life.
Okay, perfect. So, I actually played a fair amount of snipper clips. So even though I was sick on Sunday, my wife and I had to take a trip to Toys R Us, and we returned a handful of those amiibo that I bought that I just had as extras. And so, but of course I can't leave there without buying something Nintendo, because it's like they have stuff I can't get anywhere else. Like, so I have 2 of these Koopa shells that are footballs. I have a red and a green one now. So like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, they're totally rad. They had like a 3 foot tall Link, and I'm like, I gotta walk away from this. I don't have the space for it. But like, I almost got these sunglasses that have the Toon Link's face, and I'm like, I could totally
with
these things.
That would be amazing.
Have you seen? They're not amiibo, but they're about the same size as amiibo, but they're Nintendo characters.
They have. I've seen. Yeah, at Toys R Us they had a bunch of them, like Animal Crossing. They have a bunch of like the Wind Waker stuff, like the Ganon and the Link and that kind of stuff. I noticed, and it was actually the 2 stores that are relatively close together. They kind of had different things, which was kind of cool. So the thing it's funny, my wife walks over and she's like, "Oh my gosh, they have a Game Boy like soothing teething, like to where the little babies can chew on Game Boys, or controllers."
That's awesome.
And bibs, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh."
Have you seen the onesie that's got Link on it?
I'm gonna love being a dad.
My wife and I, we don't even have a kid yet, but we saw a onesie that's got Link on it, 8-bit Link, and it says like training to be a legend. And I was like, dude, the thing, yeah, we're like, she's like, should we get it? I'm like, we no, we don't need that.
You should do it. You should do it. So anyway, we went to Toys R Us, and then we headed down to a tavern called the AFK Tavern, and it's a restaurant, and then there's a bar as well, and it's pretty cool because I saw kids coming out, and I was like, oh, this is more of a restaurant than just a tavern, even though it's in the name. Well, the waitress is like, well, you see where the tile ends and where the floor turns red? That's the lava. Kids aren't allowed to touch the lava. That's where the bar is, basically. So, but what this place is like, there was a number of areas that you could kind of rent and maybe fit like 20 to 30 people. And so there was groups of people playing D&D at a couple different locations. There were people, maybe just kind of playing games on their phones. They have a PS4 set up where you can do some fighting games. They have, I think it's a 360. I didn't check, with 2 big fight sticks, and all of the curtains held together by controllers, like old controllers, the wires wrapped around the curtains. Very cool. Like, very cool place. We had a drink, and we pulled out the Switch, and the waitress was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous right now." And we started playing Snipper Clips. And guys, I had not even scratched the surface with that game. Like, my wife and I did some of the puzzles, and we had never laughed so hard. I've mentioned that on here before. But there's actually versus games. There's a dojo where you just jump around and try to cut each other into pieces. And then there's air hockey, basically, where you just play as the little paddle and just hit this button back and forth. And I know this sounds goofy. And then the last one is basketball. Basketball drops from the center, and you got to get it into your hoop. So you're trying to cut the other person while you're trying to jump, and it's pretty intense. And you can do that with up to 4 people. Now we don't have 4 Joy-Cons yet, so we haven't been able to do it, but we're planning on, I think, next Friday heading down to my sister-in-law's house, and we're gonna snag some extra Joy-Cons and go try 4-player for the first time. Cool. So here's what's crazy. We're sitting down, we're laughing, we're having a great time at the bar, whatever, the restaurant. We finish up. We head home. I set it up on the TV at home. All 4 of my kids do not want to stop playing this game, and especially my oldest, who's 16 and just loves Call of Duty. He's just like, hey, let's play the dojo. Like, I have to take the Switch down regularly and set it up so that he's like, let's play that game again. And I'm just like, what? This is not your type of game whatsoever, like at all. But he's loving it. He's having a blast with it. So it's really cool to see. I was trying to record my Nintendo news, and all I hear is screams from downstairs because they're like underneath me yelling at each other, like, "Oh, you cut me!" and And anyway, a lot of fun. So played that. Got to get into Master Blaster a little bit more, and even did some of the multiplayer on that. Well, the second player just controls basically a like a targeting reticle and just fires. And it's not point controls. You still use the analog stick, and that was actually fun. Like my wife played a little bit with me. My daughters played a little bit with me. And that game, the more I get into it, the more I'm enjoying it. I'm kind of it feels like an old NES game. Like I'm like, I don't know where to go. Like I don't know what to do. And they'll give you little hints like, oh, maybe this will open this. But that's all they'll say. They won't even say what. They're like. So then you think, oh, okay, maybe I found something that you open it doesn't go to anywhere. You're like, well, that didn't really help me at all. So I don't know what to do now. So there's kind of a little bit of like exploring. I don't for what it is. I'm really, especially for just a $10 game, really enjoying it. I do recommend it. I'm gonna have a full review of that, Snipper Clips, Zelda, and the other game I picked up on Friday that came out was the Mario Sports Superstars, I think. I can't remember the name. I always get it. It's like Mario Sports All-Stars or something like that. Soccer, baseball, tennis, horse racing, and golf. And it's really quite addicting, actually. And the amiibo card, so it has 90 amiibo card. And initially I was like, oh my gosh, this is just another like cash grab kind of thing. Like, I only bought one pack because I'm like, I just want to try it and see. Well, it's one of those things that like when you scan 3 amiibo card, you actually play a mini game. If you guys remember on Game Boy, it was like Alleyway. In the arcade, it was called Breakout. And you get a little mini game where if you play a soccer card, a soccer ball comes out. If you play a horse card, a horseshoe comes out. And if you play baseball, a baseball comes out. And so you have to hit those balls off of blocks above you. And if you complete the thing all the way up into an end boss, you then level up the card. And that's a whole other aspect of that game. As you play, you get coins, and then you unlock digital card packs and stuff. So there's kind of some fun stuff to keep you playing. The games are all solid. It's just some of them feel a little bit they're a little bit thin. Right? Like baseball online, all you do is pitch and hit. You don't get to control the fielders. And when the first game I sat down to play baseball, I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. Like I was really excited about the baseball game because I played a lot of baseball games as a kid. There is a way to go in and set it to manual, but the camera angle's a little bit weird to really make it great. So yeah, but I mean, again, I don't want to sound too negative. It's still very fun, and going and just kind of the mind game of pitching and everything is actually done pretty well in that game. And so I actually I only lost one game online. Most people just quit, unfortunately. I went to play soccer, which not even a fan of soccer. It's a blast as a video game. Like, and I've had other people tell me like, you should play FIFA. It's really fun. I just, I know Destinat, you recently played like that Mario Strikers, right?
I was just going to bring up, yeah. Is it like that where it's like 4-on-4? Or like, it's not like a full soccer team, is it?
It's 11-on-11.
Oh, wow.
And
see, Strikers wasn't like that. Strikers was more like indoor soccer where you got like less players.
Yeah, it was like arcade soccer.
Yeah, you could do like, there was like a charge move. I can't remember the exact mechanic of it, but like you would hit the button and like there would be like a pendulum, and like you had to hit the button at the right times, and like you would.
It was like a quick time event.
Yeah, and you would kick the ball, and there was like no way the goalie would block it, and you would get 2 points instead of 1 point if you did the super move and you did it like you said. If you did the quick time event perfectly, it was like an automatic 2 points, and like there's like a little kind of mini cutscene that plays where you there's like fire and sparks and all kinds of stuff. Is it like that at all?
It's like a soccer game mixed with like a fighting game.
Yeah, I love that game for the GameCube. Is it anything like that, or was it just straight up regular soccer on this one?
That game was a lot of fun.
No, it definitely had that stuff. Like if you were doing a power shot, you would get a bar that would fill up and keep filling, and you had to hit it at the right time.
Okay.
I believe something along those lines. But then at certain points, the ball would start sparking and kind of flashing. and if you double tap the kick button, you would go into your special kick at that point, and a lot of times that would score a goal. The one game I played, I literally got destroyed. It was like 11-4 or something. I mean, I just got wrecked online, but it's cool because you play as all the different like Mario characters. So like Mario and Luigi are kind of balanced, and then other players are like they're like maybe Diddy Kong is more about like speed, where Wario is more about power, that kind of stuff. And so you take two of those players, and then they throw in a bunch of Toads, Shy Guys, just different characters from the Mario series, and that's what makes up your baseball team. So you can use all characters to do all things, but like if you're pitching with Mario, he's got like just all these different pitches, and whereas like Waluigi has like Wario only has 3 pitches, right? Mario has like 5, and so it's just I don't know. There's a lot to it. One of the reasons I got it was for the horse racing. My daughter loves horses, and it has that kind of Nintendogs thing going for it, where you can care for the horse, that kind of stuff. Anyway, it for what it is, it's a pretty decent little package. And so I picked that up at Best Buy because I get a discount there, right, for the Gamers Club. And we're going to talk more about that a little bit later when we get into why GameStops are closing. The last thing I picked up on our trip to Everett, though, is 2 NES titles, To the Earth and Time Lord. And I specifically went for games I had no idea about. I just based it on the names.
Else for that matter.
Yeah. And so I threw out a tweet saying, hey, anybody played these? And a few people were like, oh man, I played Time Lord. I saved up all summer and was able to get that game. And then it was super hard and I couldn't beat it. Well, Brian did a little bit of searching and found out the game's actually made by Rare and published by Milton.
It's a rare.
It's rare.
Yeah. Exactly. And so I watched some YouTube videos. The music is amazing. So good. And the levels were pretty cool too. Like you literally went through different time periods and there was different stuff happening. But like there were certain times I'm like, well, he's like grabbing a melee weapon. And if he pulled it all the way back, stuff would walk right through him and it wouldn't hit him. And I'm like, I don't know what's happening here. I don't know if there's like some glitches or bugs in the game. I wasn't really sure. And I also wondered, like, is this person playing with some cheats, like a Game Genie or whatever? Because, it did look like it was pretty brutal. All you got to do is go into the level and collect 5 orbs. That's the objective. Some of the orbs you can't even see, and you've got to do like these like super jumps to try to get to them and stuff. Like, I was watching it as a kid. I would have no idea what to do. No idea. So, and I guess To the Earth is a light gun game. So I'll have to hook up a CRT to actually try that one. So
yeah. It looked pretty. It was like Duck Hunt on crack though, because like the ships, it takes place in space. It's first person, but the ships are coming at you like insanely fast. The person
really?
I was watching on YouTube was either not good at the game or the game's just not that good. I couldn't tell which one.
I see.
So, but it'd be interesting to try out.
So as I mentioned, Best Buy is where I pick up my games because I get the game. I have the Gamer Club or whatever that they offer. It's like $30 for 2 years. Okay. And basically what happened, I walked in one day and I put every Zelda 30th anniversary amiibo on the counter. And then I had to, Target had a sale, buy 2, get 1 free, new games. And Best Buy will price match, right? So they price match that. So here I am with a total of like $250, right? The gal's like, hey, can I scan our card just to see what it will do? I'm like, sure. It knocks the price down to $230 after getting charged the $30 for the card. So I saved $20 by buying the card. Like the card literally paid for itself and I saved $20 the first day I got it. So at that point, yeah, it's a great deal. So at that point, I mean, if you have Amazon Prime also, within the first 2 weeks of a game's release, you get 20% off of brand new titles. And so, and Amiibo.
All pre-orders too.
Yeah, exactly. And so Amiibo count as a game apparently. And so you get that 20% discount on Amiibo as well at Best Buy. Well, GameStop's closing 150 stores. It's either 150 or 225. Like, I've seen two different numbers. Both you guys saw 150, so we're going to say 150, which is about 3% of their stores. Mr. Woodhouse said that it was mostly malls that were getting closed. And, you know, a lot of the reasons say for poor holiday sales, 2016 holiday sales. Well, I'm going to say a big part of the reason that their sales are down is not, a lot of people are pointing to digital, like, oh, it's because of digital. But I think Best Buy and Amazon are really taking the new game market away from GameStop. I don't go and buy new games at GameStop anymore. I go in there for used games only, basically. I have no reason to pre-order there. If I can save 20%, if I can buy a $60 game for $47.99, I'm going to go with the $47.99. I think most people are, you know, so, and most people, I mean, a lot of people have Amazon Prime, right? I mean, it's just $100 a year. You get to watch the movies, you get the music, you get the cloud storage, and you get the free shipping on everything. And like
Twitch Prime.
And Twitch Prime. Yeah. So, I mean, I remember when I got Star Fox on the Wii U, I pre-ordered it. It was here that Friday by 11 o'clock in the morning. Right. So I didn't have to go out of the house. It was here the day it launched. I feel like GameStop is going to have to step up their game and start offering discounts on new games, or they're not going to sell like Best Buy and Amazon. What do you think, Mr. Woodhouse? What do you think?
I think that has to be what they do. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I think what Amazon is doing is, because they have such a good distribution system, they can get that volume that allows them to take those cuts. And I don't think that, because of how GameStop has to send the physical copies out to all these stores, and they can't get any sort of crazy volume on locations, and they can't estimate which locations are going to sell out, which ones aren't, I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, what do you think, Brian?
Yeah, see, what I've heard, just, you know, scouring the internet, is that Amazon, you know, when they're giving these 20% discounts, or, you know, taking like $10 off, from what I understand with them, they can handle the price cut. You know, they might be losing money on the video games. They're selling so much other stuff, they could probably take the hit right there. Whereas GameStop, who sells games, if they're going to discount this stuff by, like, you know, $10 for a brand new game, that's a huge chunk of their sales. It's games. I know they've branched out in the last few years and stuff. They got like the Think Geek stuff now. They've got, from what I didn't even know this, but I guess they're jumping into like the small electronics business, like cell phones, tablets, stuff like that. The other thing that they've been doing lately, and people might not even know this, so that game I was just talking about earlier has been Heroes.
Yeah.
And there was another game a while back called Into the Deep. That was published by GameStop. So they've kind of dipped their foot into the publishing business. So they are branched out. They're pretty diversified, actually. If you go and look at what GameStop does and what they own, they have branched out. They don't just do video games. As far as, like you said, their new sales have taken a hit for new video games. I know they don't make a lot of money on a brand new video game sale. They make majority of the profit off of a used game because, and me personally, I've got no problem with this. I know a lot of people don't like the fact that they'll buy low and sell high. The way I see it, it's a convenience factor. It's a convenience.
And it's capitalism, baby.
Yeah, you know, that's when you go to Best Buy and you're buying that new HD TV. Guess what? Best Buy didn't buy it for $2,000. They sold it to you for $2,000. They might have bought it for I don't know, 15, maybe 1,000. And the company that sold it to them, let's just say, for example, Sony, They did not make that TV for $1,000. They probably made that TV for $200 and sold it to them for $1,000, and then Best Buy turned around and sold it to you for $2,000. That's just, I don't know, that's just the way the world works.
Sure.
So for me, I see it as a convenience. Look, I don't have to go on it online. I don't have to find a buyer for this game that I want to sell. I'm taking, I guess me personally, I'm taking into consideration, look, they're the middleman. I'm selling it to them. If I'm happy for what they're going to give me for it, let's say they're like, hey, we'll give you $4 for that game that you bought for $60 a year ago. If
Sports game?
Yeah. If I'm
pretty
comfortable.
much.
Yeah. Those do not hold value because, hey, they know every year there's going to be a new one. If I'm okay with that, I don't care what they sell it for. They could sell it for $2,000. If someone wants to buy it for $2,000, hey, that's on the individual. So, like you said, there's more digital sales, which cuts into new sales, and then I can't sell a digital game. So GameStop has nothing to buy back. Any game that I buy digitally, they're out of luck. That's a potential buyback that they can't get. So yeah, that's gotta hurt them there. If people have ever gone to GameStop online, you can see that they do sell digital games. I think I bought Witcher 3 from GameStop digitally, and all they did was give me a code to go online and download the game from another service. It wasn't Steam. It was like GOG or something like that. So I don't know how much they make on digital code sales. If anything, maybe they're just providing it as a service to say, hey, you can buy that here. I know they sell Steam cards. I don't know how much money they make off of selling a Steam card. Being that I'm then going to go to Steam and use that card somewhere else. I'm not using it at GameStop. So, yeah, I don't know. I think you either have to kind of like maybe bite the bullet and decide I'm cool with how GameStop functions as a company, or I see GameStop as we've talked about in other shows, like brand loyalty. You got these people that are like, I'm a Sony fanboy. They're not going to call themselves a Sony fanboy, or an Xbox fanboy. But like, why would you be a GameStop fanboy or not, or an anti GameStop like fanboy? If you can get your stuff wherever you can get it, if you have a preferred method, I say go for it. I personally like GameStop in the gaming space just for competition. Because I bet you the day GameStop goes away, you're no longer going to get those deals at Best Buy and Amazon. Those deals are gone because they know that's the only place
you might
that you can buy them.
still get them at Best Buy.
Well, Best Buy maybe.
just because they're trying to fend off Amazon.
Exactly. But I guess my point is, if there's less companies to go around to compete with each other, you're not gonna get that discount anymore. Because hey, if they're the only game in town, well, why are they gonna give you a discount?
And if GameStop dies, that's pretty much the end of midnight launch parties.
Yeah, unless you got a Amazon, distribution center right next door to your house.
Yeah. Or you live in Seattle and have one of those Amazon stores.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's true. And those are pretty cool. I went to my first midnight launch for the Switch. That's the first midnight launch I've ever been to ever. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's only Nintendo that does true midnight launches anymore.
Yeah.
Only Nintendo. Everyone else, if you're on the West Coast, you're getting your games at 9 p.m. And so if you're old like us, you're like, sweet, I get to play before I have to go to bed and get up for work the next day.
Yep.
So
being in the western part of the country is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, for some things.
Yeah.
When you're trying to stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. Pacific and it's already midnight on the East Coast, it takes a toll on your numbers for sure. The other thing, this is right on the heels of Xbox announcing that they're going to start a rental service, basically, where they for $10 a month you have access to 100 games. I think Sony has something similar or tried something similar, and I'm sure they're going to continue to refine that. And the other thing that I don't have in our notes, but the Nintendo tax, Brian. You know what's up with this, right?
Oh, I paid it today.
Yeah.
No, I didn't actually. I did not. Not for this game. I take that back.
Okay.
But yes, I know what you're talking about. Like for example,
Yes.
The Binding of Isaac, which is a Nintendo Switch game. I believe it's $39.99. You can pretty much get it anywhere else for $29.99. Don't quote me on the price, but there is a $10 difference between Switch and other versions.
Yeah, and so, and why is that? What's the reason for this $10?
So, from what I understand and what I've seen online, it's that physical media. It's a little bit different than putting a game on disc. If you put a game on a Blu-ray, Blu-rays are pretty standard. You know, I forget what they max out nowadays, but I mean, you're getting quite a few gigs on a Blu-ray to put your game on. Most games don't fill up a whole Blu-ray. You know, you're talking like games that are like 7 gigs. You know, doesn't technically need a Blu-ray disc, but that's become the standard for the game systems. That's what they go with. And discs are pretty cheap to manufacture, so you know we get games that are $60. When it comes to cartridges, though, cartridges come in different sizes. You know, you got 2 gig, 6 gig, all the way up to hundreds of gigs. Well, there's a price difference. If you want to get a 100 gig card versus a 2 gig card, that bigger one's going to cost you more money. And it's no different for the game companies when they're buying these cartridges. They have to decide, like, well, how big is my game? Okay, I need to go with this cartridge. So from what I've heard online is because those cartridges can be more, they are charging more basically for you to have it on cartridge, which is why, for example, The Binding of Isaac, you can buy it on Steam. It also comes, digital download. It's a certain price across the board, but the second you want to buy it for the Nintendo Switch, and you can get it digitally, I'll get into that in a second, but when you buy it on a cart for the Switch, it's an extra $10. And basically they're saying it's because of that fluctuation with chips and chip capacity. Kind of the same problem we had back with the Nintendo 64. Those games were pretty expensive, and it's because they were on carts. Which had to have basically RAM. It's like buying RAM for your computer, but that has to be inside of the cart, to hold everything. So there's that. Now, when you go to buy the game, for example, there's a game coming out called Rime, and this, for some reason, they got singled out when it came to this. They were like, wait, how come the game's $40? And it's $40 whether you buy it physical or digital. But it's but you guys just told us that there was this kind of cartridge tax of where you had to pay more. Why do I gotta say the same price for the digital version on the e-store or Steam for that matter or something? They said to play nice with stores like Best Buy and GameStop. The digital version is going to be the same price as the cart. Just to make it even across the board. That way, GameStop wouldn't complain, let's say, about wait a minute, you're taking sales away from us. We're selling the cart and it's more expensive. No one's going to buy our cart if you can get it online for cheaper. So they've decided that the online prices for the Switch store, the eShop, are going to be the same as if you buy the physical version in the store. So we're seeing games that are kind of across the board $10 more just to get them on the Switch, whether you buy digitally or you buy the actual cart. So that's kind of when you hear the term the Nintendo tax, that's what you're hearing. That's the reason behind it, is what I'm hearing, is that carts fluctuate in price and they have to kind of cover their bases, I guess, or take a loss.
Wow.
So really, the only people this is affecting is going to be indies for the most part, right? Because your mainstream AAA games are going to come out at $60.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see a $70 game. I think the $60 cap is kind of ingrained in our heads to where if it's $70, it better come with some type of digital content that's extra.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and this isn't like new for Nintendo. It's not like because Binding of Isaac is 40 in store and 40 digitally. I mean, because of the Gamer Card and Amazon Prime, or the Gamer Club and Amazon Prime, I would go and get it at Best Buy for 20% off, right? So that game's going to be under $30 for me to buy it physical versus, buying it digitally. There's not even a good reason for me to buy something digitally unless it's the only way to get it.
And that's the thing right now. A lot of times physical media ends up being cheaper because it'll stay the same price on your e-store or e-shop or wherever you shop online. Those digital prices a lot of times don't come down. But then you can go to a GameStop and the game has been out for 6 months and it's like not selling, so then they mark the price down. Sometimes you can actually get the physical media for cheaper in the long run.
Yeah, or at
even
GameStop,
Amazon,
you're gonna get it used. So.
Yeah, even at Amazon with their special deal, if you got Prime and you get the nice 20% off, that doesn't apply to digital codes.
Yeah. So, from what I understand, what I've been hearing is that the reason those digital prices, and this goes for Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, they're the same price whether you buy the physical disc or you buy the eShop version, because they want to try to play nice with retailers. And I'm we've talked a lot about GameStop, but we're talking Best Buy, Target, Walmart, because as soon as those companies say, look, we're going to drop the price of our digital stuff, we're going to take it down to $30, the retailer can't do that because the retailer's got to make some type of profit off of it, but the retailer could probably in turn be like, well, you want to play that game? Guess what? We're not selling anymore. We're not going to sell your system anymore in our store. Yeah. So then where does Nintendo sell their Switch from? I guess you can get it directly from them. I can only imagine the logistical nightmare being that you can't even get one in a store, let alone if you had to get it directly from the company. Like,
yeah,
and getting stuff direct from Nintendo is tough.
Yeah, like how big is that waiting list? Like,
right.
So they got to kind of, I mean, for now, and I'm sure in the future someday maybe we will go all digital, 100% to where everything's digital online. And this will it's not going to happen tomorrow, obviously, but, it'll end up, I'm sure one day it'll end up to where everything's digital. And then you'll get that company that's like, hey, you want to get the retro version? The retro edition's coming out and it's physical, Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's continue right along here. There was a rumored Nintendo Direct leak. Okay, and we're gonna just kind of briefly touch on this thing. But one of the things that Mr. Woodhouse, what did you say about this leak?
Well, like every other Nintendo leak recently, it's got that Paper Mario game in it, and so I'm not sure what to think about this leak, but I know for damn sure that when a leak comes out that doesn't have this Paper Mario game in it, I'm going to sit up and listen.
It's like Thousand Year Door, right? From the GameCube?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thousand Year Door HD.
Yeah. So that's one of the rumored games. The other one is the Virtual Console games, and it featured GameCube games, Smash Bros. Melee, Super Mario Kart Double Dash, and Super Mario Sunshine. So, and it even went into detail on how the triggers will work. Like basically, the full press will be the lower trigger, and the half press or whatever would be the top trigger, or vice versa. So
where's my Z button gonna go then?
Yeah, and I think it goes into that. But yeah, I was at work trying to read this thing. I wrote a quick article about it and put it up just because. If it is true, and again, this is just rumored, right? It's completely rumored, so don't take it as gospel. But if it's true, man, oh man, this summer is looking good because, I mean, there's the where my fingers are crossed is online Double Dash, online Melee. Man, I'm hoping
that's the dream.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I feel like if Nintendo did that, if they did an H or even just a virtual console version of Smash Bros. Melee, like that game is still played to this day and has a massive following,
Mhm.
right? A massive following, and I think
And now you're going to be able to take it on the go.
yeah, take it on the go, and then the possibility for online play. Which I don't even know. I was watching a streamer the other day, and I'm like, is he playing somebody online, or is he playing like? I was a little bit confused, honestly, because I'm like, I know this game isn't online, but I didn't know if it was like through emulation and some different mods or something. Maybe they were able to do online matches. I'm not sure. I remember back in the day playing Halo 1 online through a thing called like Xbox Connect or something like that. You had to hook it up to your computer and tricked it into thinking it was a LAN party and so on and so forth. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's happening with that game. Maybe he was just playing a bot on the hardest difficulty. I'm not sure. But this is a guy that competes, at a regular, like a high level. And so, but what a nod to that community from Nintendo if they like really kind of took the time to make this something great, because I mean, how like this game's been being played for so long, and even with the Wii U, Nintendo was like, hey, we're making adapters so you guys can use GameCube controllers, because they knew that was the preferred method. So who knows? I don't know.
What sold out forever.
Oh yeah, I remember I got it the day it came out, and then it was like $120 on Amazon like the next day. I was like, what?
Yep.
I kept mine though, and now they're in the stores everywhere if you end up wanting one. But
can I throw a little bit of salt on that game?
Go ahead,
theory?
Go ahead, throw it.
Okay, so
I mean, that's all you throw is salt, so it's fine.
Okay. This is just I'm gonna sprinkle. I'm just gonna season it a little bit.
Just gonna season it. Okay. Perfect.
So to get a GameCube game on the Switch, it's been reported online. It's no secret. The Switch is basically an NVIDIA Shield. Hardware-wise, it is more powerful than the GameCube. But the GameCube, comparing a GameCube to the Switch is kind of like comparing a Mac computer to a PC. They run off of two different like sets of code. That it's not an apples to apples comparison. I do have a GameCube emulator, and I run a fairly beastly computer. It's like an 8. I got a 4-core 8-thread processor at 4.6 gigahertz. I got like 16 gigs of RAM. Like, if you want to compare a Switch to my desktop, there's no comparison. Certain GameCube games, while they are being emulated, they're not, running off of true GameCube hardware, will bring my computer to its knees. Because it's like translating, English to Portuguese to Japanese. Kind of like, there's some things that get lost in translation.
In real time.
Yeah, in real time, like at 60 frames per second, But to run a GameCube game, it would, unless they were going to do, I'm guessing, some form of HD remake, they would have to emulate it through the hardware on the Switch. There would have to be some type of like emulation software that they would have to like, download onto your Switch or something like that. Now, that's not to say that some games run flawlessly on my computer, and those games would probably run flawlessly on the Switch, like games like you said, Mario Sunshine. They're not high demands, but like if you're thinking you're gonna play Rogue Squadron on this thing, no, that's just not gonna happen. That game, I'll get less than 30 frames per second at times with that game. That's my only concern is what's the workaround. And I understand Nintendo has the code like locked up, next to the Ark of the Covenant somewhere. So I'm sure they would, if anyone could, do a flawless transition of emulation, it would be them. I don't know with the hardware that we have if we would ever see it. Like I said, unless they just made a remake and like said, hey, we remade it. It's like with current tools and software.
And then when you get into Double Dash and talking about that, when you get into the area of remake, you have to ask, what's the payoff? You're just going to cannibalize Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, like where, why not just make Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and say, hey, this is, or add something to that. Add maybe
add a double dash mode to it.
Yeah, a double dash DLC that you can charge me $19.99 for, on top of the $60 that I'm paying for Mario Kart 8. So
again,
yeah, I joke around that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the most expensive DLC ever.
It is
60. I take that back. I just bought a lot of amiibo.
Let's talk about your amiibo.
But no, so yeah, like that's a perfect point. Like, where's the payoff in going back, and why redo an old Smash Brothers when they can come out with the new Smash Brothers? And I don't know. Like, Josh, you do a lot of retro stuff. Is there ever a game series that you like refuse to buy because it's not as good as like the old one? Like, do you not buy? I know you said you're a big fan of Super Metroid. Would you not buy the new Metroid that came out because it's not a remake of Super Metroid?
Well, the newest Metroid is garbage.
Well, yeah. Let me paint a hypothetical here. Like, what if they came out with Metroid Prime? What would they be on, 4 now?
4.
Would you not buy it because it's not a remake of Super Metroid?
Oh no, I would definitely, like, that wouldn't hinder me at all. The difference with like Smash, I want Smash I love having Smash on the go on my 3DS, right? Like, the more I can replace like my 3DS games on the Switch,
right,
the less I have to carry 2 systems around with me.
But that could be done with a new Smash game, right? As opposed to just remaking the old one.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But if it's going to come out quicker by being a virtual console game, I'm okay with that. Even if it's the 64 game, I'm fine with it. I'm not like, I wouldn't prefer it over a new one. I would prefer the new one because I didn't play a ton of Melee. You know what I'm saying? Like, but whichever one does come out will be the one that I can invest the most time in, and I'll be cool with it. Yeah. But for instance, like, I mean, the new Mass Effect just came out, and I love Mass Effect trilogy. I'm not all that interested in the new one, which, I mean, it bums me out, and maybe I'll pick it up and end up enjoying it. But it sounds like it takes a little while to get into it. So,
it's a very different game.
So, sometimes that's the case, and you just, you don't end up with, your expectations aren't necessarily met, right?
Andromeda is to Mass Effect as Breath of the Wild is to Zelda. It's different.
Yeah, very much breaks, I guess, the mold. I'm enjoying that game too. I will say this, it's very funny now that I think about it. When I first got the original Mass Effect, I'm like, I'm gonna be totally into this game, and then I wasn't totally into it. But when I finally sat down and said, you know what, I'm playing this game, I got past like a certain point in the story, which isn't too far into it. Bam, I was hooked. And I think that's going to be the same thing with this one. This one, I'm only on the 2nd planet, and I think after this planet, I'm probably going to like end up being hooked. Because already I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm just, unfortunately, you grow up, suddenly you don't have as much time as you used to. But I'm thinking it's going to be the same way with this one. Like, I'll get past like a sticking point, and then I'm going to be like, this is the greatest game ever. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. With Mass Effect 1, the hook point was pretty far out. They brought it in to like almost immediately with Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 3 was the same way. Andromeda has the sticking point even further out than Mass Effect 1.
Yeah, and I had that with 3. I stopped. I'm like, I can't do this again. I had to stop, and I came back years later.
You binged it though, so.
And yeah, I totally did. It's a bummer that game's not coming to the Switch, but I mean, I totally can understand why. I can understand why. But yeah, for sure.
Technical
for
things.
sure. And as far as like going back to the emulation question too, like, I mean, the Xbox One is backward, has Xbox 360 games playable on it. That was not supposed to be possible. Right. That was like, that was not supposed to be possible. And basically what they, because it's the same situation as the GameCube and the Switch, they're made on different, they're made completely different, but they were able to trick the software into thinking it was the same.
Yeah.
You know, so whether that's something they can do, I don't know. Hopefully that's the case, because like Mario Sunshine, to jump back into that game, I mean, that's the thing. For me personally, I love having Nintendo on the go. Like the Switch is the perfect Nintendo system for me. Like I really think that, because taking it on the go, being able to play it in a restaurant with my wife, 2-player, like couch co-op in a restaurant without both of us staring at separate screens like on a DS. Amazing, right? Being able to play Breath of the Wild in the car, like crazy. Like what? Like I'm playing a console game on the go. To be able to do that with some old GameCube games and stuff, like I feel like mobile is a better place for Virtual Console than on the Wii U. Like I feel like the DS was a better place for Virtual Console than on the Wii U, because it was like, this is stuff up to a certain point. The Switch, you don't have that issue like you did with the DS, where it's like if they released GameCube games, well, sorry, you're not I have Super Mario Kart on my DS. You're not doing multiplayer. They didn't add a download play. They didn't add anything like that. Whereas on the Switch, it's like, hey, if Mario Kart 64 comes out on it, we can grab 4 Joy-Cons and play on a tiny little screen if we want to on the go, or hook it up to the TV and play. So it's like, it's literally the best of both worlds for me, because I can play those bite-sized NES, Super Nintendo games that we think are, we're pretty sure are coming. But then the vast library of 64 games and whatever else, like this would be great if this was the machine that you could have all that stuff on. That being said, I'm still all about new games too. Like Mario Kart 8 is going to get a ton of playtime. Mario Kart 64 would also get a ton of playtime if it ended up, and that's just me. And everybody's different, obviously, but those kind of games, like I said, just sitting down at a restaurant, waiting for our order to come, like just playing snipper clips like we did, it was really fun. And so having more games like that, I'm down with. And even if they're new, that's fine too. So the last thing, I just want to mention this real quick, and then we're going to spend a little time talking about Zelda, and then we'll wrap this thing up. One of the things that Reddit was going crazy with yesterday was that the Lego game, Lego City Undercover, was going to be required internet connection, and it also required 13 gigs of free space.
Ouch.
Yeah, Switch has 32 gigs.
That's 50%. Well, 26 usable.
And 26 usable. So Warner Brothers has released a statement saying that this is not the case. It was a misprint. The physical copy of the game will still, like, you can just pop it in and play. All the internet requirement is so that you can get updates, is basically what they said. So you can look into that further if you want to, but that was kind of a big sigh of relief, because it was like, this is not good. If this is a real thing, if I have to pop a cart into my system and then download the whole game onto it, just like on a PS4 or an Xbox One, I'm going to run out of space quickly. And so this is not cost effective to buy carts at this point, because then you're buying SD cards as well. But if you're buying it digitally, you're buying SD. There's like, what are they doing? What are they doing? And then making it internet required. Now I'm not taking it on the go. And then the argument is, well, you can turn a hotspot on your phone, but I don't have unlimited data on my hotspot on my phone. Maybe that's becoming more and more normal. The one cool thing, we did have the Splatoon test fire, which was cool to jump back into that game. I know Destin has a few things to say about that game. But one of the things they're reporting is that if you use your hotspot for that game, it's not going to use very much data to be able to play online with it. So that's kind of cool. So that's the Lego game. We did play the Splatoon test fire. Did we all three play it?
I did not play it.
Okay. Brian, real quick.
Have you played the first Splatoon on the Wii U?
No, not a Splatoon guy.
Okay, because I was going to say, if you've played the first Splatoon, then you played Splatoon 2. It is actually... let's put it this way. Again, if you played Splatoon 1, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The ability to have your team get spawn locked in your own spawn with the inability to leave your spawn because you're getting hammered on is still there. Didn't find that exciting at all. Um,
Wait, before you go any further than that, do you know how to do the super jump?
Yes.
How
Okay,
do you do it,
so
for one? And would that get you out of that situation?
no.
Okay.
Yes and no. Okay, so the super jump that Josh is talking about is let's say you have to respawn and you only have one spawn point. There are multiple exits to that spawn point, but you spawn in the exact same spot every time. Now, the super jump Josh is talking about is you in this game there's teams of 4. So if one of your teammates is like out on the battlefield, you hit your X button, I believe, on this one. On the Wii U version, it was on the gamepad. But you can look, like, it gives you a quick little overhead. You can see one of your teammates and basically spawn on your teammate.
Okay. I had that happen to me, but I couldn't
Okay.
figure out how to do it. I'm like, I don't understand this mechanic.
Yeah, what that allows you to do is, let's say someone's out on the battlefield, you use your spawn, it shoots you up into the air, and then you kind of come down from above. I ended up getting killed more times doing that, though, because usually by the time I hit the ground, my teammate's dead, and I just landed right into the line of fire of the enemy. So,
Great.
I guess there's good times to use it, bad times to use it.
If you were the one man that
But-
was dead and your 3 teammates were pushing,
Then it's
that would be a
cool.
good time to use
When
it.
all
yeah.
4 of you are dead and you can't jump to a teammate and the other team is right there knocking on your front door, there's no way to jump over them. So I wish there was some ability to where you could use that feature. Like if the game saw that maybe you were locked into your spawn, like maybe it would give you maybe a random spot that you can jump to, but you can't pick it. I think that'd be fair. I would take that. So the ability to get spawn locked, I didn't like. The ink looked shinier than ever. That was awesome. But the graphics themselves, in my opinion, looked worse than the Wii U version. And I saw that mainly like in the edges of like the graphics. And I understand that when it comes to a technical perspective, anytime you got bright colors or very contrasty colors, it's hard to. It takes more power to make that edge look nice and like round or something like that. And this game is all about like bright colors. Like it's like blue versus yellow or pink versus like purple, like very, very bright colors. The gameplay itself I like. My wife also loves it, you know. You don't have to be like a headshot master or master, as some people call it, to be good at this game. If you have ADD and you're like, I'm going to cover every single inch of this floor with ink, you might be better at this game than someone else, which could be a turnoff for people. Some people, I think...
All right, I might have to get this game because I'm all about that.
If you're like, every speck of this ground is going to be pink when I'm done, then hey, you might be really good at this game. I know, Josh, you had said like you didn't like the fact that you couldn't just run around and kill people and have that affect your overall winning score. You can kill people in this game, like 1-on-1s or something like that, or 2-on-1 situations where you can shoot the other player, but that has no effect on your final end game or end round score. It's more about covering the ground with ink. Now, by killing other people, they're not on the battlefield, which means you can then cover the floor with ink. So you're kind of winning by killing people, but there's no like MVP for getting, 10 kills in the game. That's just Nintendo's version of a shooter. So I like the game. It's just that I feel that this didn't have any improvements whatsoever over Splatoon 1. And
It's not so much a sequel as it is just a remake.
is it just like a remake? When I first played the original Splatoon, it was very bare bones, and I know they did like a full year of free DLC for that game, which was awesome. So where that game ended was much different from where it started. I understand that this was just a server test, but I felt like I was playing Splatoon 1 vanilla again. So it's like, eesh. I hope that's not the case. And Josh, I know you had said, you've mentioned that not a lot of people bought the Wii U. Hopefully with the Switch, it's got a huge install base already. All those people that missed out on the Wii U games are going to be playing these games with, like, Mario Kart 8. They're going to be playing it for the first time. Splatoon 2. That's the first experience with Splatoon. That's cool and all, but what about all the people that did buy a Wii U? Now I got to play with the same game that I already bought over again. That's the downside to that, I think, to all these remakes. One, cool, it's coming to a larger audience, but two, I think we might, in some cases, be getting the exact same game over again. I just, I thought there was going to be more improvement coming in as a sequel. So, so it's not like if you liked the original Splatoon, you'll probably like this one.
Yeah, and I mean, I had to turn the motion controls off. That was the first thing I had to figure out how to do because I'm like, this is not for me. And I mean, here's the cool thing. I took the first one that I played. I streamed. It was fine. You know, again, to me, it's like I'd rather shoot the man than shoot the ground. That's where I'm at. Like, that's what I'd rather do. And now there were some snipers that I guess were pulling off some pretty righteous shots. You know, that's pretty cool. But I put this game in my daughter's hand, my 9-year-old daughter, and she was like, "This is amazing. This is so much fun. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun." I gave it to my wife. And other than I'm like, this game makes you swear a little bit, dear.
Yes. So your wife is like my
That's
wife.
Excellent.
Then. They love the game, but my wife goes into Tourette's mode when she plays this game.
I was like, whoa, you're getting a little competitive. She's like, I gotta win. I gotta cover the ground. What can I use? How come they keep killing me? You know. So I was like, oh boy, I'm gonna have to buy another Switch just for this game. I think.
Yeah.
But it was cool to watch
that my wife loved on the Wii U.
Yeah, and so even though it may not be like something that I'm really drawn to, because I would rather play a more precision shooter. Mm-hmm. Like if it's something that my family's going to be into and we can do some kind of multiplayer with it, we don't know what that's going to be on this one. If it's going to be, a split screen or a 4 screen, hopefully it's a 4. That would be the ideal. I could play it on the TV with the, like the old GoldenEye days and screen look and all that stuff.
And we might get
Screen
that
looker!
With this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
We might get that with this one. The original one, because of the Wii U's second screen, if you wanted to play 2 players, one person had the second screen, one person had the TV, and you could only play against. So it was like you can 1v1 me, bro,
right.
on it, and it was only in a map, and it was just you two. So hopefully with this one, they go more of a Mario Kart route, where at least maybe do 2-on-2, or be able to go online. I don't know how that will work if you do like online from the same Switch,
Oh, like the old Halo games.
Yeah, like I don't know if it would be like Destinaut and then Destinaut Guest. I don't know if it would be that.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Even if it was like Mario Kart, where Mario Kart 8, you can go online with 2 people, right? Or you can play 4 people on one screen.
Yeah. So the possibilities are there. Hopefully, I'm just being jaded, and this is a beta server test, and Nintendo's like. Because clearly someone from Nintendo is listening to this. Hopefully they'll be laughing at me come release date.
Yeah, well, we always say don't ever don't base your decision on a game on a beta, right? Like don't do that. Don't do that. Unless it's, I mean, even if it's absolute trash, like at least wait to hear, like see some reviews or something, don't base it on a beta. A demo maybe, but not the beta, because
this was a server stress test. So I mean, they could have threw 1s and 0s out there and technically called it a stress test. So
right, which is still weird the way they do that, and we'll end on this, but we'll get into Zelda next. But why these 1 hour period, like these 1 hour slots? Like people were like, oh, I gotta work, I can't. Like any other game, if you're stress tested, it's just like, let's go. Here's a whole weekend. Like, burn these things to the ground. No, that wasn't the case for this. So, I don't know. It's just strange. It's the way I played Splatoon the last time. It's just like, oh, here's these 1 hour like windows, and I'd happen to look and go, oh, hey, I'm sitting here. My Switch is right here. I guess I'll give it a go. So, the one thing that was kind of nice was kind of seeing what a first person game would play like. And I felt like on the go, I got used to it real quick. With the Pro Controller, amazing, of course. But
Pro Controller's great.
Oh man, it's so good, and it's the best way to play Zelda. Oh, there you go, beautiful, dude, beautiful. So, we're gonna get into Zelda, guys. There may be minor spoilers. We're not going to I'm
spoiling everything right now.
We're not. No, he's not. He's not spoiling everything. He's not. We are gonna do a spoiler cast probably this week that will be out on this feed. But it's going to be very clearly marked that it is a Zelda spoiler cast. So if you haven't finished the game, Don't listen to it. There may be minor spoilers right now, so I'm just tossing that out there. If you don't want to hear anything about Zelda, then just fast forward. If you're cool with it, then keep on going. Mr. Woodhouse, what have you thought of Zelda, man? Like,
it's not quite the best game I've ever played.
Get out.
It's getting there. I'm not quite to that point yet.
Okay.
I'm holding off on judgment until I see this Ganon fight.
Yeah, because you said you're only 30 hours in approximately?
I'm on my third Divine Beast right now. I'm taking down Meadow right now.
Okay. Yeah, there's... That's the cool thing about this game. People have done speedruns on this game already for like, I don't know, like an hour? I don't know, 20 minutes?
Under an hour is the latest one I'd heard, but I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah. For me, this game isn't about that though. There's so much to do as far as shrines. You got side quests. You've got I'm probably gonna say this wrong. Is it the Korok seeds? The Korok seeds? Korok seeds?
Koroks.
Okay, so you got the Clorox seeds that you gotta get. There's like 900 of them.
Clorox.
The shrines, there's 120 shrines. There are also
900 Korok seeds.
Yeah, 900. Like I don't know. Like if I'm the animator, developer, or whoever that has to work on this, and they're like, put 900 of these things in here. I'm like, what? Where? Like you have to hide them all.
Some of the hiding spots are really incredible.
Yeah, I mean it's cool too though that there are a lot of different hiding spots, but then they're all similar. You start seeing patterns, like there's a set of trees over there. Okay, I know for a fact there's like a seed over there. You start just seeing these things like throughout the world, or like you
the rock circles.
The rocks,
like
you start seeing these patterns, and you're like, okay, I know there's a seed there. There's got to be a seed there, and sure enough, there'll be a seed there. And I think I talked to Josh about this, and I'm sure you'll be in agreement with this. You've probably found a lot of things by mistake. Like you go to do them, and you're just like, oh, that's cool that just worked, or that happened. Like I wouldn't have thought on my own to just try it. It's almost like, oh, I accidentally caught something on fire, and then, oh my gosh, I just found something. Like I think that's really cool that you can just kind of fumble your way through this game, and towards the end, you're no longer fumbling your way through. You kind of, all those things add up to you becoming, like pro gamer, MLG. So.
And the fumbling feels so much more realistic than everything just being, oh, there's a bomb wall that I have to blow up. That just felt, you have to buy in, but it felt contrived. With a lot of this stuff, it's like, oh, I'm fighting them with bomb arrows, and one went astray, blew up this pile of rocks, and wait, is that a treasure chest?
Yeah. Stuff like that, dude, is really cool in this game. There's so many little things that I feel that the creators took into consideration that maybe are slightly more realistic than other games as well. Like for example, you talked about bomb arrows. You can't use those in the rain. They don't explode.
I love that.
And
or in the lava.
Yeah, you go to pull them out in the lava where it's hot and they explode in your face.
That was hilarious. The first time that happened to me, I was like, oh my god!
Yeah, so not to go into too far into like spoiler territory, but I would encourage anyone that's playing this game really think about like the elements, like when it comes to like snow, rain, heat, and kind of think about how those affect real life. And it's probably going to affect this game. Like, just like we talked about right now, like the rain affecting like fire, when you're in the snow, how that affects other things. The lightning even. Josh, I know you got a certain outfit, and when you read the description of it, you're like, oh yeah, I can see why that protects against electricity. Like
Right.
there's just like it's,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah. So there's this level of like elements in the world that really interact with each other extremely well. I'll say that the environment of this game interacts with itself very well, and that's what I think makes it such a great game.
Yeah, it's the game is about exploration and reaction.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like the entire world is a puzzle, which is really nice. And the puzzles are the best that they've ever had in the series, like bar none. Some of these shrines get into like my top 5 for video game puzzles.
Wow, nice. And there's 120 of them. None of them really feel like they're the same puzzle, just like, oh, this one's just taller, Like they all feel like they're
some of them at first glance appear to be the same, and then when you try and do them the same,
it doesn't work out so much. Yeah. I did one the other day
There
by
was
accident. I was like, oh.
Yeah, there was one where it looked exactly the same as one I had done very early on, and I tried to do it the same way, and I got killed. And it took me a while to figure out what the new strategy was. And when I did, I was like, you know what? That's very tricky. They were very smart there.
The only thing that I feel the weakest is the major and minor tests of strength. Those are the kind of the weakest links, because there's like the only variation is basically weapons, right? Like if they had actually put like multiple guardians in or something like that. Like this is a minor gripe, by the way. Like this isn't like this isn't a deal breaker for me or anything, but like I enjoyed the puzzle ones much more. Because the only variation was like, oh, maybe this room has pillars or this one doesn't, for those major and minor tests of strength and the weapons. So, but I mean, one of the coolest things about it though is like I was streaming it last night, and everybody in the chat was like, I didn't do that this way. I did this complete like, oh yeah, I didn't freeze time right there to stop that thing from doing that, and then. I just used an arrow to light these torches or whatever. Whereas like, and then in some cases I'm like, oh, I could have froze that, but I was able to thread the needle and hit the arrow hit both torches for me or whatever, Yeah. And so just stuff like that, where it's like, there are multiple ways to figure out these puzzles that really make it cool. I mean, you've spent a ton of time watching me, and I watched you play for a little bit too. And it was like, just the way we would attack things is just different, it's different.
Yeah, I was talking about the game with MTashed of big time Destiny YouTuber and streamer, and we were talking about this one shrine that I had said is probably the best puzzle I've ever played in a Zelda game, and he was like, "Yeah, I played that and." I went and I looked at the YouTube videos afterwards, and I did it completely different than everyone else did. And sure enough, he and I had approached this exact same puzzle, which to me, in my mind, there was only one way to do it, and he had done it a completely different way. It's the brilliance of it.
Yeah. One of the shrines, actually, I did it, and I was like, man, that was tough. And then I watched Josh do it, and I'm like, I'm dumb. I did it way harder than I needed to. At the time, I didn't realize that I finally figured it out on the first dungeon, that you can manipulate the dungeon itself. Yeah, and then I forgot about it. So I basically went through the next dungeon without tilting it or moving it or anything. I don't know how I did it, but I did it, and I was like, oh my gosh, had I like remembered that you can move these things, I would have had a way easier time.
Yeah.
But that I think is also cool, because this game isn't linear. So
yeah,
to be
I love
able,
that.
Yeah, so to be able to do those things, I think they really took into consideration that someone could have like 20 hearts going into this level, or they could have 3 hearts going into this level. We need to make it so that each person could complete this shrine or this dungeon. It might be easier for the guy that's doing this at the end of his run compared to the guy doing it at the beginning of the run, but it's still doable. So that part of it I think is really cool. Not to say that there isn't like we talked about calling this kind of like a Skyrim. Skyrim had parts
Zelda Scrolls.
Yeah, Zelda Scrolls. There are levels like, where you're like, you're not going to want to go there as a level 1 guy. You're going to get your butt handed to you. And this game is the same way. There are areas you might be able to go to, but you might not have a fun day. So, but that's what's cool. That's what leads to, hey, I want to get better. I want to get more hearts. I want to get more stamina because I want to go to that area. Because there's probably something cool there. So yeah, I think they did a phenomenal job on that. Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what the DLCs are.
Yeah, I'm with you. So the Nintendo voice chat, they asked the question of, can Zelda go back to what it was?
To being after, like linear?
Yeah, kinda, after Breath of the Wild.
Ooh.
I think they can.
I think it just depends, as far as, clearly this Zelda has gotten a lot of praise, but that's not saying that the other Zeldas haven't gotten a lot of praise, That it's not like this is the standout. It's not like Zelda before was a series that would only get like 5s or 6s as review scores across the board, and then suddenly they made this one and it's like, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. If that were the case, I'd be like, okay, it's going to be like this going forward. Clearly, this is a formula that people like, and it's going to stay that way. They found their their sweet spot or whatever. But going back, older Zelda games were phenomenal as well. So I think as long as they keep the quality up, clearly this is a series that could go either way. It can be, it's the original Zelda was very non-linear. It was linear in that you needed to do the shrines in a certain order, or dungeons, I guess. But you could still go anywhere in that map in the original Zelda.
Yeah.
So I think it can function as an open world game. It can function as a linear game. I think this goes for probably any gaming franchise. And what I mean by that is, if the story is strong and you have characters that can be likable, you could probably make your game, for the most part, any style of game or combination of game. I don't know how Zelda would work as an on-the-rails shooter.
Link's crossbow training was not very good.
Crossbow training.
Like if you're riding Epona, Epona's got to be super damn charismatic for me to love that game, I guess.
Hey, Roach was pretty damn charismatic.
Yeah. But I obviously some styles lend themselves more. Let's look at this game. How much narrative was there? You could say yes there was, yes there wasn't. Like how much. This was the first Zelda game to have like voice acting, but it was still done very sparingly. So clearly, it told a story without much, effort vocally. Yeah, I think if they can just keep pumping out the quality in Zeldas, it could be linear. I think it can be open world. I don't know if I would want to play a first-person Zelda. I don't know. Again.
Yeah, what it makes me think about is like Link Between Worlds, where they took a very similar world to A Link to the Past, right? But then they added a mechanic that allowed you to explore new areas in that world by turning into a painting, basically, and then exploring like cracks, and that would take you to the other world. I think what really works well for Breath of the Wild is the fact that you start the game and you get these certain items with your Sheikah slate, right? And then from that point on, the game says go and explore. And I think if that became the new norm for Zelda, I think it would work for a while until they can come up with something new. But I mean, think about a game even like a Link to the Past. You started that game and you could go and rent the gear that you wanted instead of having to dig it out of a dungeon, to dig the hook shot out of a dungeon. You could rent it, right? Mm-hmm. But if you died, you had to go rent it again. Yeah, it was gone. And so, they kind of did that where it was like, okay, I can go explore anywhere. I can just rent this stuff. I part of me misses that aspect of Zelda in this game where it's like, oh man, I didn't get there's no hook shot, right? There's no this or that. But just because I miss it doesn't mean that it's bad. That's just like, oh, that was Zelda, right? That was what Zelda was. They did an excellent job of breaking away from that and still making it a very engaging and like, I love exploring in this game. I literally love just wandering around in this game. And,
I've probably spent 90% of my time just wandering around aimlessly, which is what I do in Skyrim.
Sure. And so, I mean, and that's what's so cool about it. You can just get lost. Yeah. You can just get lost. So it didn't do what Zelda typically does, but it's done something that is like far exceeded my expectations, and to go back. Go ahead.
The really hot take that I've heard is that it might be the greatest game ever made without being the greatest Zelda game ever made.
Interesting. And to answer my question, if it could go, can it go back? I think it can because it pushes the creative boundaries of the developers, of the creators to go like, okay, we're going to do a bite-sized Zelda that's kind of that 3/4 top down, like Link to the Past, like Link Between Worlds, like the original game. What are we going to do here to make this fun, make this something that people want to play? And that's the beauty of Nintendo and the way that they can create something that you're like, I never thought I would be doing this. Right.
Yeah.
That's
I think
that, it's like, Metroid went into the first person shooter and then we came back and had one of the greatest Metroid side scrollers of all time with Fusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think, like I was gonna say, is like, I think like with a game like Breath of the Wild, it's kind of like, obviously I wasn't there for the deciding of this game, but I get the feeling that they were like, okay, we're gonna make this open world, you can do anything, and we got Breath of the Wild because of that. But I think they can go and make the next game and be like, okay, let's rein ourselves in a little bit. What did we like about Breath of the Wild that really worked? And I'm sure even Nintendo, the guys that made this game, we're kind of looking at it from the view of like, this is amazing, everything's great. I'm sure there's still stuff that are like, we couldn't quite pull this off. We didn't add this into the game. We wish we could have implemented this or that. So I'm sure they're already thinking about probably the future of the game, or plus the DLC that's coming out. Maybe we'll get some type of changes there, or maybe they'll fully flesh out an idea. And like Josh said, there's no hook shot. Maybe they wanted a hook shot in this game, but they were like,
I want a hook shot in the DLC.
Yeah, so maybe they'll give it to us. And I don't know. I don't know how that would affect the game. Because let's say I'm climbing up a mountain, I'm about to run out of stamina. Does that mean I can now like hook shot up the rest of the way? I don't know. Maybe they took it out because of so many other things that they added. Like they were like, well, do we need a hook shot in here? Is it going to add to, or is it going to take away? How is it going to affect this game? So maybe that's why it wasn't included. Because I'm sure it was taken out for a reason. Because that's a pretty big staple of like Zelda, kind of is the hook shot, where it's like, I'm sure that they didn't add
especially
it.
Especially 3D Zelda.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were like, it's just not going to work for X, Y, and Z. Okay, let's do something else.
Yeah, because it's more than just adding that device into the game. It's adding that into puzzles all throughout, right? It's adding that into the world, like it's adding those locations that you can only use the hook shot on, you know. So I mean, and again, I mean, it's like a minor gripe. It's not like, but it's one of those things that's like, yeah, there are things that make this feel un-Zelda, but I still really like it, you know. So, well, boys, we're over an hour and a half. Woo. This has been fun. We've talked about a lot of different things. Mr. Woodhouse, tell us where we can find you, bud.
You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Woodhouse with an AH instead of an ER. Do not send stuff to the ER guy because he hasn't been on Twitter in 6 years, and I'm hoping they'll finally deactivate his account and give it to me. And if you send stuff to him, he might read his stuff, and that's all she wrote. And then on Twitch, you can find me, twitch.tv/Mr. Woodhouse with the ER. Same on Reddit, u/Mr. Woodhouse with the ER. I'm the mod of Destiny the Game, Fallout Gaming, and Play Arc.
Nice.
Very cool. Brian, how about you, buddy? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at DestinaTLC. Also, right here on Twitch, we do every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Pacific and 7 o'clock Pacific. We're live on twitch.tv/The Loot Cave, doing our Lootcast, which is primarily Destiny, and then right here on the Nintendo Powercast, where it's pretty much Nintendo. You can also find me streaming on twitch.tv/Destinaut. Either myself or my helper, Stormtrooper Steve, will be streaming over there. I have to thank him. He finished up Zelda for me the other day. So check it out.
All right. You guys can find me on Twitter at N64Josh. You can find me streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/N64Josh. If you want to see my my daily Nintendo news on YouTube, just look up N64Josh. You'll find me there. We've been getting some reviews in iTunes, and I really, really appreciate them. There's been some really kind words, and we do appreciate that. We're still sitting at 4.5 because of a few poor reviews. Some we got a 1-star, and there's no reason why, so it kind of bums us out. But couple more 5-star reviews, and it'll push us back into that 5-star rating, and we really, really appreciate that. So if you're enjoying the show and you want to give it a 5-star review, we'd really appreciate it. And even if you don't feel like giving it a 5-star review, you got some things you think we should work on, let us know. Like we're up to hearing some constructive criticism for sure. Do want to thank everybody in the chat that hung out with us live. Thank you so much. Guys, you'll be able to find all the notes for this show at thelootcave.com/NPC13. Thank you, Mr. Woodhouse. Thank you, Destinaut.
Yep.
We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.